The recession has hit some industries particularly hard. The advertising sector, that's been dealt some crippling blows by the economic downturn. To keep themselves on their feet, ad men and women are turning to cutting-edge science to help hone their market research and keep their clients sweet. Joe Good went to find out more.
With rows and rows of choices to make when we shop, how do marketers know which products really catch our eye? To find out, they need to spy on our eyes, and that's where these glasses come in.
If you can just follow my finger around.
One very small lens films the eye, the other films what our eye is seeing.
We interlace those two bits of information across onto a video, and what we end up with is, in essence, a crosshair that shows exactly where you're looking.
Bread bakery. I tested the glasses to see what insights they reveal about where our eyes are drawn to when we shop. Ah, bread. I like wholemeal, but I also like organic.
Is this the crosshair that you can see bouncing about? And the first thing most people comment on is the speed of which the eye moves around.
Excuse me. Tea or coffee?
So what we see here now is that you see the rapid eye movements here. I mean, there's no linear process involved in this at all. It's scanning for information.
So how is all this information so interesting to advertisers?
There is an old adage in the retail sector that is unseen is unsold, and that's very true. If you don't look at something, you can't even start including that as part of your, if you like, choice of products to purchase.
Advertisers want to know where the eye roams down to the split second.
We work with things called fixations. A fixation is where the eye stops and rests and starts cognitively processing information. It's anywhere between 125 milliseconds to 250 milliseconds.
Even this fragment of time is considered a hit. Do you know what is really interesting me here? My eye is not resting on the shelf which has the price. It's always on the package.
It's always on the packaging. Packaging is the main driver.
This technology, originally developed by the MOD for fighter pilots, is helping advertisers build up a more accurate picture of shopping than that established by traditional market research. The potential for eye tracker is so much more than just a supermarket. Imagine you're in Terminal 5, waiting for a flight, killing time, just where your eye is going to roam. Well, that's exactly what the billboard company, JC&Co, commissioned eye tracker to find out.
We've made a huge investment on our digital network at Terminal 5, a multi-million-pound investment. What we were hoping to prove with eye tracker is that this investment worked. Advertising is a big budget business, frankly, so there was a lot riding on it.
Previous studies on digital screens had failed to deliver significant results, but the study proved to be a surprising success.
Every single journey that a passenger takes in this terminal, we know that they will actually look at the screens over 90 times. So for an advertiser, that is absolutely critical.
We saw a very good presentation, and a lot of it was actually showing the footage. It's empirical proof that people are taking on your message, that they have better recall of it.
People will only look at a screen by something like 0.3 of a second, but we do now know through eye tracker that this collection of just very quick viewings does add up to a very effective advertising message.
Bright colours attract, animation attracts, things that I guess we knew but we maybe hadn't designed into the creative.
The positioning of the screens was just as important as their content.
The digital sites, the cascade effects, the long runs of digital are there for a reason, and eye tracker proved it to us.
You can see people's eyes, they're very much darting all over the place. They look far distance, near distance, middle distance, they're looking at things which are moving. And all these things will have to affect the way that we design our advertising, because if we're not taking those into account, we're just missing making our advertising as efficient as it could be.
It's almost a new beginning for advertising, and I think the key thing and what eye tracker allows us to do is to go and share these learnings with our clients on a scientific basis.
Advertisers want to know more than just what our eyes scan. They want to delve even deeper inside our brains to expose what really makes us tick. So it's in places like this top advertising agency where neuroscience has become the buzzword in market research.
I want you to get together.
With over 40 years in the advertising industry, Robin White is in the business of managing people's minds.
We're looking at the whole decision-making process and how memory is stored in the brain about brands and what value brands are to consumers. So we need to look inside the brain to understand more of that.
Brands are everything in advertising, and any information on how the memory of brands actually gets lodged into the brain is like gold dust.
If I say the future's bright, the future's
Orange.
you see, that hasn't been used for 5 years. We developed that. It's sitting in the brain. Advertising people have been doing slogans and jingles, but they've become very unfashionable. But actually what we're learning is they're actually a very good device to get something embedded in the brain. In understanding how they spread and then embed is a big part of what we're looking at.
To make these discoveries, advertising agencies are forming alliances with neuroscientists like Professor Gemma Calvert to chart any details of how our brains respond to advertising that other market research has failed to reach. So Gemma, can you tell me what's happening here?
What's happening is that we're taking images of the subject's brain whilst she's looking at adverts, and we're looking for differences in the brain as a function of whether these ads are shown at different parts of the day.
What are some of the surprises that you found?
We found that advertising was better absorbed and encoded and understood in the morning compared to the evening day part.
By measuring blood flow to specific parts of the brain, neuroscience can reveal exactly which areas are active at a given moment.
We can see these areas lighting up and can then predict how people are going to behave to the advertising.
Brain scanning not only offers advertisers a window into the control centres of the mind, but also a means to pre-test consumer responses to either brands or new ad campaigns. These insights stand to save the advertising industry enormous sums of money.
I think finally we've got a way of objectively measuring the effectiveness of advertising. It's really helping the communications industry to de-risk some of the decisions that they make in terms of communications and marketing.
This technology is still in its early stages.
We're really on the edge of space. This is very rudimentary stuff. What we're doing is exploratory.
But like explorers of the new world, advertisers hope in the future to discover a map of brands in our brains.
I think that right now in your brain and my brain is a little tangle of synapses representing Coca-Cola, BMW, 118. They're in there. And what we don't know is how to find them. So eventually we'll find representations, neurological representations of everything we can remember, but particularly brands. They'll be in your brain.
What happens next? Some people may be worried that this research gives advertisers too much information on how we behave, whilst others may think it clears out the clutter. Everything's moving so fast in this area that the future for market research is open to any kind of new technology that will help advertisers understand what really motivates us at the most basic level.